So we're getting a lot of answers to questions we've had, you and I've had, members of Congress have had, and it's coming at a time when this virus is spiking in other parts of the country.
Yeah, that's right. And Dr. Fauci and the other panelists have had a couple of news nuggets. Some of it, as you said in the intro, cautiously optimistic. You heard from Dr. Fauci that he thinks if we indeed get a vaccine, that it could still be done by the end of this year, early next year, and that the chances they are taking on a vaccine are essentially chances that we might spend a ton of money on it, not things that would risk people's safety or the efficacy of the vaccine. Likewise, we heard from the FDA commissioner that we're in a much stronger position on PPE if there is a second wave. We'll have better availability of masks, better availability of ventilators, all the things that hospitals need to handle the increasing cases. But I think the big glaring red light in all of this has been the spiking cases that we are seeing in other parts of the country. And Dr. Fauci was very clear that just because the death rates have thus far been lower than we saw earlier on in the pandemic in those places, that may not always be the case. Take a listen to this important point.
Deaths always lag considerably behind cases. You might remember at the time that New York was in their worst situation where the deaths were going up and yet the cases were starting to go down. The deaths only came down multiple weeks later. So you're seeing more cases now while the deaths are going down. The concern is if those cases then infect people who wind up getting sick and go to the hospital, it is conceivable you may see the deaths going up. So I think it's too early to say because the deaths are going down.
Chuck, I think of that in the context of my home state of Texas, where just yesterday the governor was acknowledging the problem with increased testing. We're having a lot more cases in Texas. He was saying that, you know, the death rate has remained relatively low in Texas. And so this is the kind of thing that you want to watch out for in all of those spiking states, not to be, celebrating what looks like higher case numbers when you could have this sort of tsunami of hospitalizations and deaths that follow that later on.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.